everybody. Susan Palmer here of Lead Cat Press. This is my weekly studio update. Thanks so much for tuning in. And today, let's see what's going on in my studio. Well, my book, The Guitar Lesson Companion Volume 1, is now going to be used at Long Island University in New York. I'm very, very excited about that. And shipped out a bunch of books this week to students and to teachers. Got a couple of teachers I had to ship some boxes of books out to. So that's all very, very exciting for me. I owe a lot to YouTube and Instagram for helping me get the word out about these books. I'm really trying hard to do some promotion on them. What I just played there, it's from an exercise from my book, and on page 140 in my book, I lay out 12 different chord progressions, each one in a different major key, and they're all very common chord progressions. And by common, I don't mean like bad or overused. Some of them might be used a little often, but they're the backbone of contemporary music. And I think there's a lot of things that students can learn from them. If somebody's just starting out writing songs, I often suggest that they check out that page and listen to some of those chord progressions, try to write some melodies using those chord progressions and so on. But I also use those exercises, because I think of them as exercises as being a teacher, as being a helpful tool to learn things like voice leading, which is one of the things that I was demonstrating there in that warm-up exercise there. Voice leading and, getting really comfortable with the triads. So I have, there are complete workouts for major and minor triads in the book. And one of the exercises that I run through with my students quite often is, first of all, in this chord progression, our first chord is D. So running that through, playing all of the Ds everywhere. The next chord is A. So playing all of the As everywhere, and so on. And the next step would be to play the whole chord progression in one area. So I would have them play D here, and then our closest A is there. Oh, that sounds so nice. The B minor is our third chord there. There's our closest B minor, and then G right there. So there's not a lot of movement here in my fingers. But what that allows is for you to just get at the heart of the voices that are moving in that chord sequence. And that can sound very beautiful. When I'm thinking of voice leading, I'm thinking of, the smoothest way to transition from one chord to the next. Now, one thing to do once you've got a pretty good hold of those chords is what I call kind of the one up and then one back exercise. So my first chord is D, so I'm going to play the lowest D triad I've got, and then I'm going to play the next D triad up the neck. And from there, I'm going to find the closest A, because that's my next chord, and then I'm going to play the lower A. So I've got this motion of a low D, a high D, a high A, a low A. And in that, you get, already just with those two chords, you get this really cool melody. And it's that voice on top. It's the voice on the B string there that really stands out. And then if we continue that chord progression, so I did D, D, A, A. Next chord is B minor, so B minor, and then my closest G. Here's G, and there's G. So now I've got this chord progression going in this really, beautiful transition. What we call good voice leading. So I did that, and I started that chord progression on that D chord. Now you could start that chord progression on the higher D. So play, D and then D and then A and A. You just get a different melody with that, which is also pretty cool. We could take that whole concept up to the next set of triads. So this was the first triad that I played. So now I'm going to start with this one. This will be my lower voicing here. And then here is my upper D. There's my A, a higher A there, and then my lower A. Next chord is B minor. So here's my lower B minor. Here's my higher B minor. And then here's my higher G. Oops, that's not my G. There's my G. And then there's my lower G. So and then you could take it up one more if you wanted to. There's D, D, A, and B minor, and B minor, and G, and G. And that's just one way to think about voice leading with through those chords there. You can do that with any 2-chord progression, and it's kind of a magical way, I think, to kind of turn 2 chords into what feels like more chords than that. Again, this idea is founded on, those fundamental principles, which are all in the Guitar Lesson Companion. I encourage you to check it out. I'll put a free sample link in the description box here. Ask your teacher about it. I'd love to get more students playing through this book and really learning those fundamentals.